Hey everyone, Ian from Innuendo Studios here. Here to let you know that for the time being, Innuendo Studios is taking a break. I'm not sure for how long, and there's a chance it might be permanent. Well, you've seen the title of the video, so that is not hyperbole. It's not strictly speaking true. Like bankruptcy is only one of several options right now, but it is a very real and likely possibility.
So this man right here is Ian Danskin. He can be described as a breadtube style YouTuber, and he is the guy behind the lauded by the mainstream media series called The Alt-Right Playbook, which is a crudely animated and poorly researched series about how the alt-right has a series of tactics, and Ian Danskin, this expert leftist, is going to disassemble them and display them for you guys out there in the audience so you know you can avoid them. Now, of course, part of the point of this particular playlist is a way to demonize people, to advocate for their deplatforming, to say that you should never talk to people on the other side. However, that is not the primary main objective of this particular video that this guy put out right here, because the title of this video and what he says and alludes to in the open of this video is that Ian has gone bankrupt due to the fact that he's been running this YouTube channel at a loss for the previous 7 years.
I've been saying that doing this job is making ends meet for a while, and it has in the sense that most months I end with my bank account at least nominally in the positive. Not all, but most. But if making ends meet is supposed to entail things like being able to settle up your credit card debt or settle up personal loans you take from friends and loved ones, or being able to pay the 30% in taxes that freelancers own every April. Taking a full account, I have been running this channel at a loss for 7 years.
He has such a sad state of affairs with his finances that he just has to take a break in order to get his life together, because he's so sad he just can't seem to make any money. He can't make good financial decisions. And to me, the premise and purpose of this video is ridiculous in every possible way. This guy is playing the victim despite the fact that he has a channel that has over 500,000 subscribers. His videos, when he actually does release content, actually get views, and he has a Patreon that generates $6,900 a month in free income for him to do absolutely nothing. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
And between back taxes I owe the government, a maxed out credit card that is in collections, and money I owe to a few people who've bailed me out, I have a total accumulated debt that is pushing $100,000.
So special shout out to the guy in my Discord who ended up sending me this particular video, informing me of this story, because again, Ian Danskin, the Innuendo Studios brand, is something that we've interacted with a couple of times. And honestly, I find his videos to be ridiculous and absurd, but nothing is more absurd than him talking about running this channel at a loss, when in reality, it costs almost nothing to run a YouTube channel. These are low budget kind of productions. The idea that he has just costs out the wazoo is insane. And again, according to his GoFundMe, which we will get into a little bit later, he found himself in $87,000 in debt through a combination of a credit card and personal loans, and he has all manner of excuses for the fact that he is not working at all whatsoever, he's not producing, and therefore he has put himself in the position that he is currently in. And again, according to him, it's everybody else's fault. And one of my favorite parts of this particular video is the fact that Ian Danskin actually said that he hurt his back, and that's what's making it more difficult for him to work.
You know, once I hurt my back and I couldn't work for a while, and life just got more expensive, it's really seemed like, especially with joining Nebula and everything, it keeps feeling like if I could just hang on a little longer, I get it cracked. And I'd become one of those like fully self-sustained people, and maybe I would, maybe if I could hold on a little longer, I would, but I can't.
Now, guys, I want to make something 100% clear for everybody out there in the audience, because this might be a little bit confusing to those of you who are listening to Ian Danskin beg for money on the internet.com, cry about the sad, sorry state of his life. And that is that making YouTube videos, me shooting this, sitting in front of camera, or just recording audio or writing a script like Ian Danskin does, is not a very labor-intensive job. I know you might be shocked by this. I know you might be stunned by that revelation. I know that reality might just shatter your worldview, but the idea that hurting your back somehow makes it more difficult for you to make YouTube videos, I guess, if you heard it and you're sitting in a chair, it might bother you or something of the sort, is ridiculous. This guy doesn't make any content. He opens up the video by saying that he's going to take a break from this particular channel because, oh my God, he just can't handle it anymore and he needs to go find a real job. But in reality, he's been on a break from this channel. His previous upload was 4 months ago. Again, look at this track record right here. So 4 months ago, he put out an 8-minute and 20-second video. In the same month, he put out a video of 13 minutes and 40 seconds. 3 months before that, he put out a 2-minute video. 1 month before that, he put out a 6-minute video. And 3 months prior to that, he put out a 19-minute video.
I just can't take it anymore. This is just a lot of strain to put on me and to put on my family. And I've felt for a long time that like I'm on the verge of, kind of like making it. Like I've been dancing around the periphery for a while, back in 2020, right before COVID happened, like the numbers were really doing good. The Patreon was really solid. I was making more money than I'd ever made. And it really seemed like it was going to keep heading that way. And then they just started to dip and it's never really recovered.
Now, throughout the course of Ian's video, he talks about how, revenue used to be good during COVID, and I thought that would continue and I would be able to sustain myself. But the reality is that the revenue is just not nearly as good. And I just want to point out for you guys out there in the audience who are not aware of the behind the scenes, that there is some truth in this. During COVID, CPMs went up dramatically. You could get paid about $10 to $12 per 1,000 views on your particular channel, and a lot of people were making a lot of good money, only for that to be halved when interest rates started spiking, when inflation started going up during the Biden administration. But we're talking about a time period that's about 3 to 4 years ago when the ad rates actually started dropping. And the response to that is not to complain that you've bankrupted yourself, not to talk about how, you're running the channel that costs nothing to run at a loss or your back is hurt. It's to produce content. You have a channel where your views get up in the hundreds of thousands per video. If you just produce more content, then guess what? You can compensate for the revenue drop.
And I'm not going to say I'm perfect at managing money. There wasn't a life I could have been living these past 7 years where I would have earned $100,000 more than I did. So,
and by the way, I don't know if this has went up after he ended up crying about going bankrupt, but his Patreon is $6,900 a month. That adds up to about $83,000 a year, give or take. Again, calculation right here on screen. And this guy is talking about how it's just impossible for him to pay his $80,000 in debt. He hasn't been paying his taxes, and this is just a pathetic performance. And by the way, I know I'm sounding like I'm coming off really harsh against Ian Danskin of Innuendo Studios. You guys might think that part of the reason I'm going after him is because I disagree with him politically. But the fact is, my original intent of this video was to ask him and offer him the chance to go over his spending, go over his expenses, give him some kind of ideas on what he can produce on the cheap in order to compensate for his bad financial decisions. But a big part of you taking hold of your own finances is that you actually take responsibility for your own actions. Again, this guy's like, I stumbled into bankruptcy. It's like, hey, you know that if you don't make content, you're not going to make ad revenue. You know that if you don't produce, you can't bring people into your Patreon. So if you're not doing that, and then you're racking up credit card debt, you're borrowing money from people like a scumbag, then guess what? You should not be surprised. But the thing is these people want a bailout. These people want to be supported, and it's really unfortunate because he ends up linking his resume as in like, oh, please, I need a job. I just need something to keep me afloat. My life is so sad and so hurtful. And he links a GoFundMe. And guess what? That GoFundMe raised over $155,000 in order to retire his $87,000 in debt, which is bad debt, like credit card debt and personal loans. And guess what? This is not going to solve his problem beyond the short term. Unless you start producing more, unless you start contributing more content to the environment, then guess what? You're not going to make that up in ad revenue.
I can't keep struggling in the meantime. So for now, we're going to call this a sabbatical. I'm not officially quitting. It's possible I will find part-time work, which means that, you know, if it's enough hours that it brings in decent money that I could supplement Patreon and AdSense with, I could keep doing this part-time, which is, you know, when I started out, that's what it was. It was a thing I was juggling with freelancing in school. So maybe that's an option. I have to see what's out there. But at least for the next month or so, kind of my mindset is to live my life with the question, what if I wasn't a YouTuber? Like, how would I spend my time? Where would I put my energies? What would I work on if you didn't always have that gnawing feeling of like, I should be working on my video? You know, what would my home look like? What would my social life look like? How would my free time look? Free time is a concept.
This guy's seriously trying to tell us that he doesn't understand the concept of free time. He puts in no work on his channel. Look at this output. That is no work.
Y'all don't do no work, no work.
And the thing is, it might be depressing that a video that gets 1 million views ends up earning half of what it would have earned a couple of years ago, but that's something that you have to deal with. Each and every one of us on this platform need to engage with the realities of the platform, and I absolutely can't stand the fact that this guy ended up saying, hey, it's not just me. A lot of YouTubers are struggling way more than you think, as if we are the victim class of society. Again, it's just pathetic.
Outside of a few big names, probably almost all of your favorite YouTubers are doing worse than you think.
Listen, Ian, I don't give a damn that you're on the other side of the political spectrum. I don't give a damn that you do propaganda videos that are meant to deplatform your political opponents, and in general, your videos are trash and you represent yourself as absolute scum. But what you need to do is stop taking advantage of people in your audience. Stop taking advantage of people in your friend group. Get a budget together, get your finances in order, and straighten out your life. Actually produce content, and guess what? Revenue will come in. Instead, he ends up advertising his Patreon. He ends up talking about how he's hooked up with CuriosityStream, which, by the way, is another very questionable enterprise in my opinion. And all of this different various things he ends up linking to and promoting throughout the course of this video, while he's talking about how he's just given up on life, while he's talking about how his life is so sad. You guys saw me go through different struggles throughout the course of this channel. A lot of them you didn't know about, and the reason why you didn't know about them is because that's my business, and I respect you guys enough to know that you have struggles in your own life, and I don't want to be like, I'm the victim, give me money, although I do like playing the Anna Kasparian give me the money clip.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
And then take advantage of your generosity, of your goodwill. You guys know that I got my car stolen a couple of months before my wedding. A huge loss on my account. I ended up having to get another car, and this was all while I had to make the big chunks of the wedding payments due to the fact that this is the way that the wedding industry ends up being structured. So it was truly a bind. It could not have happened at a worse time. And some of you were so generous, so sweet. You ended up recommending that I do a Give, Send, Go or GoFundMe. me. A lot of people wanted to do it on my behalf, but I rejected all of that. And the reason why is I knew that it was on me to bear it. And by the way, unlike Ian Danskin, who just stopped working, who stopped producing content, who stopped doing the thing that earned him money and then was shocked that he stopped earning money, I ended up actually having that happen to me due to no fault of my own. My vehicle was stolen from me based on the fact that a thug, a criminal, ended up deciding to take it. And guess what? There was not really anything I could have done to prevent it because I can't be up at all hours of the night watching it. And guess what? I did not start a GoFundMe. I did not start a Give, Send, Go. I did not talk about how, oh my God, YouTubers across the board are all suffering. Be so generous with your money as if you guys aren't struggling out there in the audience. Again, this is just disgusting behavior right here. The guy's not even paying his taxes. I have to pay my taxes each and every year. You know what I do as a responsible person? I don't go on my YouTube channel and say, oh, it's so hard to save 30% in order to pay my taxes at the end of the year. What I do is I pay it. I pay it all in one chunk, like a man, like an adult, like somebody who could take responsibility for his own damn actions, instead of just letting this stuff pile up behind the scenes and then bitch and moan to you guys out there in the audience. Again, Ian, this is harsh criticism, but it is deserved. You need to understand that you messed up, you're responsible for your own life, and you need to get your own house in order, because that 155K that you essentially guilted out of people in your audience, when you blow it without getting in control of your underlying spending problem, you're just going to find yourself in that position a year from now, 2 years from now. And guess what? The generosity of your audience, based on the fact that you're not producing anything, isn't going to be there. You can't keep going to that well. You have to produce for yourself. And yes, you should be ashamed of yourself for e-begging and doing all this dramatic nonsense, like the way that you ended up concluding your video, where you're like, oh my God, what am I to do with a resume that says content creator for the last 7 or 11 years? Whatever you actually said, let me play the clip.
Even if the financial precarity, like my official position right now, is that it's not worth it anymore. For those 11 years, it really was. And I don't know what's out there. I'm probably calling a temp agency on Monday. Good God. You know what it's like to have a resume that just says content creator for 11 years? What does that even qualify you for?
This is so pathetic. This is such an expression of weakness. And by the way, he ends up alluding to the fact that he has a family. I genuinely feel terrible for the people that rely on you for support when this is your attitude going into the world, when this is who you are as a representative in public of yourself, when you're supposed to be advocating for yourself in the best way possible. Again, absolutely sad, trash behavior right here.
I don't think I'm disappearing. Whatever I'm doing, I'm always going to be making stuff, and this is where I have a particular audience, and so if anything I make is video, it will end up here, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Depending on what my earnings are, I might just turn off ads. I hate watching videos with ads, so if this isn't my income anymore, I might just go ahead and turn those off. I mean, if I'm not posting videos anymore, it doesn't end up being very much anyway. But if I'm able to do this part-time, then maybe not. Maybe I'll keep that on because it'll actually be a source of income. I don't... Right now, I'm just not promising anything specific. Thank you all for 11 years of Innuendo Studios.
And it's all under the guise of this woe is me, I did it to myself and all that. Now, of course, a lot of people are going to say, or some people will say, Sean, well, his videos with the crap animation and whatnot, those take a long time to do. You have to write the script and whatnot. And this is something that it just takes a long time. And it's the only way that he's able to make those videos that get those views and whatnot. So there's no other alternative. And the thing is, I do videos that sometimes take way longer, deep research videos where I break down and look look up the statistics for every single thing that is mentioned in the thing that I'm responding to. And guess what? I supplement that with quicker videos, with videos that have less research requirements. And the reason why is because I know ultimately I'm responsible for my own state of my own life. I'm responsible for where I am. I'm responsible for earning. I'm responsible for providing in part for my wife, because this is what I do for a living. This is the path that I've chosen, and I understand that my paycheck is never going to be consistent from month to month, but I assume that risk like an adult. I take responsibility, take control over my own life, because this is what I want to do, and I'm grateful to you guys for allowing me to do so. But this guy goes on this rant like he's this holier than thou kind of person who's like, oh, I was thinking about releasing my scripts and the animatic software, this very detailed animations, in order to make sure that I get into a situation where people through Creative Commons can recreate Innuendo Studios out there for the world. And the thing is, I hope he actually does this. I hope he does this, and then some other random person realizes how easy it is to produce these videos, to produce these scripts, to make it with these rudimentary animations, because guess what? It will expose this guy as the absolute fraud that he is, as the ridiculous e-beggar that he is, as the pathetic person that he is. And again, I say this all based on his actions. Ian could turn it around tomorrow. He could produce 2 videos a month instead of 1 every 3 months. He could produce 4 videos a month. A weekly schedule will get him on track, and guess what? He'll earn a decent amount of revenue, considering his average view totals are somewhere around 500,000 per video, which is pretty good. You get paid pretty well for that, in addition to his Patreon, which is $6,900 a month. Whatever revenue he gets from Curiosity Stream, he will be able to handle this. Now, of course, I did say that I would be giving some advice. Obviously, you need to take a tally of your expenses. Obviously, you need to get control over your finances. But another thing that you need to do is open up what is called a solo 401k if you are the only employee at your place of business.
Maybe I'll collaborate with people, but right now I'm not promising anything. I've been doing this for 11 years, and it's weird to say that it is the most financially stable I've ever been, because when I started this job, I was only a year or 2 off of food stamps, but it's just never made the kind of income that lets you trust that you're going to be able to cover your expenses 3-4 months from now. I have no savings. There's nothing for retirement. I owe more than I make in a year.
Now, the reason I mention this is because of that clip right there where Ian's like, I haven't put any money away from retirement, and because he talked about how he owes so much money in taxes. Well, a solo 401k can help you defer your taxes till later, so it saves you money on taxes, and of course, it allows a self-employed person to actually save, I believe it's around $60,000 to $70,000, depending on how much revenue that you generate per year, in order to have money for your retirement. And as an individual, you can put up to $23,000 of your own money tax deferred in this account in order to protect yourself from your retirement, and you get a catch-up contribution for the previous year. So what you need to do, Ian, is get a hold of that. End up stashing your money away in retirement, invest it in basic index funds that again are going to be low cost, are going to track the market, end up earning money, and set this up for yourself. I'll link a couple in the description, even if they aren't the ones that I personally use, based on ease of setup. And you need to do this because, yeah, it's on you to save for retirement, and you have so many different tax advantages as a self-employed person, whether you're an LLC or not. It's absolutely embarrassing for you to be complaining about how you owe money in taxes when, again, YouTube ad revenue is taxed at the royalty tax rate, which, by the way, federally is taxed at the capital gains tax rate. Again, pathetic in every possible way, shameful in every possible way. Get a hold of your life, man, and stop begging people for money for a bailout when you won't be changing your behavior. Again, a lot of this video is just no promises, guys. I don't know if I'm actually going to make anything, but if you could just contribute, throw some money in the cup in front of me as I beg in front of you, that would be really great. No, it's not great. You're taking advantage of people. You could easily use this YouTube channel in order to make more than enough money for you to be comfortable. You're just refusing to do so due to laziness, and it's pathetic. It's shameful. Now, again, to give you a compare and contrast, an example, I want to give you an idea of my state of mind when I started this YouTube channel. Many of you have heard this story before, but after I graduated from university, I got a job as a video editor at said university. However, unfortunately, the school was not paying me, and I was getting the runaround and whatnot, and that inspired me to make my own thing, do my own YouTube channel, because I never wanted to work for anyone. And I started this channel when I was something like $18,000 in debt with virtually no income to my name. I didn't earn money throughout the first time that I was running this channel, but I still refused to do a Patreon until I had shown for an extended period of time that I could produce content, and I had at least, I think, 1,000 subscribers. This is how I operated each and every time. And by the way, my Patreon, my website, which I do sell memberships for, my Subscribe Store, all those different membership programs, they do not make up a significant portion of my income, and I'm totally fine with that. I adjust based on that. I don't whine about it, unlike this guy who, again, pulls in higher than the median salary for an American through Patreon for doing absolutely nothing, for not producing videos on his channel, for producing something like 5 videos, and that might be generous, in the past year. Pathetic in every way.
I was just thinking about art where, you know, following the election, I wanted to do this thing about art where the good guys lose and then life goes on, because that felt really resonant. That all this stuff. So that'll come out if it comes out. I don't know if any of that will come out in any form.
You know what? Those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. I know I got a little bit disproportionately angry to the situation in a lot of your minds, but the thing is, as a content creator, as this person on this side of the camera, you have so many opportunities in order to pick the pockets of the people that watch your videos. You have so many chances in order to play the sympathy card, say, hey guys, I know you enjoy watching me every day and whatnot, but my life is so bad and so sad, and I find it repulsive, repugnant that so many people take advantage of that relationship for not that serious situations, for situations that can be corrected by correcting bad behavior, because it's just nasty. It's disgusting. I'm repeating the same words, but you really genuinely need to understand that this is something that happens on this side of the camera so many different times, and then you meet these people in real life, people like Ian, and what you find out is that they have immense spending problems. They have immense problems with the fact that they love certain luxuries, and they think that their lifestyle is the burden of you, and it's not the burden of them to budget properly and maintain it within their means. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you like this video, then show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social medias, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about a leftist begging for money because he can't manage his own finances. Till next time.